Dr. Demetra Smith, the Director of Capable Minds, Hearts, and Hands, the Potter's House IDD Outreach, and I'm so excited to be sharing with you today from part 2 of Mapping the Journey to Empowerment. Our topic today is about community integration. So let's get started. What is community integration? Well, nearly 1 in 4 people in the United States are living with some sort of disability, but people with disabilities are often excluded from social relationships, community participation, leisure activities, and employment. Integration is important because it seeks to remedy these disconnects by creating inclusive, engaging, accommodating, and diverse societies. As the name suggests, integration refers to assimilating and welcoming people with disabilities into the much larger community. This participation takes place in neighborhoods, schools, workplaces, congregations, community centers, sporting events, and more. Community integration allows the intentional creation of opportunities, events, and activities that individuals can reap a tangible benefit from, regardless of their skill level, cognitive level, communication style, or mobility. Community integration is vitally important to the overall health and well-being of a society because it recognizes the importance and contribution of every single person. In too many cases, persons with disabilities are segregated from their non-disabled peers, but successful integration gives people with disabilities a strong community presence without reducing them to just a disability label. For community integration to be a long-term success, persons with disabilities must have equal access to citizenship and civic engagement, education, employment, healthcare, housing, peer support, recreation and leisure, spirituality and religion, and valued social roles, marriage, parenting. Community integration should take place across an individual's lifespan and be tailored to right where they are in their life and their interests, regardless of age. They should be fully able to understand the supports and services available to them when it comes to community integration. What are some factors that affect community integration? There are several key factors that affect the ability for persons with disabilities to fully integrate, and these include but are not limited to the severity of their disability or impairment, the accessibility or lack of to their surroundings, the availability of assistive technologies and devices, and underlying cultural and political influences, the degree of support that they receive from the family that they live with, and their overall community. And so what role, considering this, does inclusion play? Well, inclusion plays a central role in community integration in helping people with disabilities feel fully accepted and fully welcomed. While persons with disabilities may experience physical inclusion when out in the community, they often don't feel included socially, emotionally, and intellectually. And because many people with disabilities live, work, and relax with other people with disabilities, they gain the much needed peer support, but guess what? They still feel isolated. Inclusion is important because individuals with disabilities experience inclusion through feelings of belonging and membership. When both their physical and social presence is accepted and embraced, they can fully participate in significant roles. They can be a great student, an employee, a spouse, a partner, a parent, or a great community member or leader. Components of disability inclusion and community integration, they go hand in hand. To experience full inclusion, people with disabilities must have the ability to choose from multiple experiences, including who they spend their time with. They must have a full and equal presence in places where non-disabled individuals are present. They have to be recognized for their competencies and have access to learning opportunities just like everyone else. And they have to be allowed to share their ideas, be asked for their opinions, be allowed to demonstrate their leadership. They have to be able to fully participate in life as an engaged, capable individual who just happens to have a disability, rather than an observer from the sidelines. They have to have access to valued roles and essential work and be seen as a person rather than a disabled label. So, what is the impact then of the U.S. Supreme Court's Olmstead decision? This is important, and I want you to understand that there are very few legislative actions that have impacted community integration as much as the Supreme Court's 1999 Olmstead decision, Olmstead v. LC. This act reaffirmed that the unjustified segregation of people with disabilities is a form of discrimination, and it is prohibited by Title II of the Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990. Under Title II of the Americans with Disabilities Act, also called ADA, governmental agencies must give people with disabilities equal access to community integration programs, activities, and supports. So, in other words, people with disabilities have the right to receive services in the most integrated community settings possible. The ADA also asserts that living in an integrated community and making one's own decisions is a fundamental right of all people. And it also helps prevent unnecessary institutionalization and eliminates feelings of isolation and alienation that is often seen among individuals with disabilities. So ultimately, the Olmstead decision argued that segregating people with disabilities perpetuates the stereotype that they are not capable or worthy of participating in community life. And we know that is not the case. Additionally, Olmstead ruled that segregation and confinement of people with disabilities severely diminishes their everyday life activities, including the relationships they have with family, social contacts, work, economic independence, educational advancement, and cultural enrichment. So, what are some benefits and examples of community integration? What does it look like? Well, we've already mentioned some of the benefits of community integration for people with disabilities, but let's take a closer look at the positives along with the benefits of integration to the larger community. The biggest benefit of community integration for people with disabilities is the opportunity to be truly part of the community, regardless of status. Everyone possesses unique talents and abilities and deserves the right to play an active role in society. Community integration programs keep people with disabilities engaged, provides them with work opportunities, opportunities to learn, and also to advance in the work that they do alongside everyone else. Some other benefits of community integration includes helping individuals build practical and lifelong skills that lead to enhanced independence, provides a path to recovery for those who feel isolated and unwanted, and gives them equal and intentional access to activities and services, offers the chance to engage with others, disabled or not, and a part of a diverse community, provides the opportunity to learn appropriate and ever-changing social behaviors and make new connections, gives access to inclusive workplaces where they're treated and promoted the same as their non-disabled peers. And so those benefits for the larger community, how do we all reap a benefit? Well, successful community integration also has a variety of benefits for non-disabled people. These include being a part of a more diverse team, more diverse relationships with those who have different viewpoints, experiences, and examples, more funding for public spending when people with disabilities work and pay taxes, decreased costs associated with supporting people with disabilities through paid professionals or services. And so some examples of integration activities. Although we've mentioned a few, community integration comes in many, many forms, and programs typically incorporate a variety of activities, a variety of instruction and services. Let's take a look at just a few of the examples of successful community integration. Joining a community sports team, taking public transportation and have access to it, joining youth organizations, participating in recreational programs, going to plays, concerts, or sporting events, visiting museums or historical societies, volunteering with charitable organizations, joining clubs of interest, participating in faith communities, taking advantage of school and community extracurricular activities, visiting neighborhood parks and nature centers, joining workplace teams, attending college. All of these things are examples of successful community integration. Lack of knowledge or capabilities. Many people with disabilities aren't aware of the full range of supports and services that are available to them. Some have underdeveloped social skills, and many feel anxious when it comes to being a part of the community. They don't understand that it is their right, and society is merely underestimating their capabilities when it prohibits them from taking advantage of the resources that are there. Transportation is a huge issue, and the most common practical barrier is this lack of reliable transportation. Because people who don't drive or have access to public transportation don't get to benefit from the activities that promote community integration. And what about family resistance? Most individuals live with and are cared for by members of their immediate family who just may not feel like they can do it and may in some cases prevent them from participating. There's a lack of funding and staff resources among organizations that provide opportunities. Sometimes funding is not adequate, and without enough money, groups cannot afford to offer the programs and activities that are vital to a successful integration process. Additionally, many of them don't have appropriately trained staff. They just don't have the capability to support our conditions, intellectual or developmental. Lack of educational supports and transition services also plays a big part in young people going from school into adulthood. Without the proper transitional supports, this keeps them from experiencing and benefiting from true community integration. Now, we know in schools, individualized education programs, IEPs, they're required for law to plan for school to career transition, but sometimes this just does not happen. So how do we overcome these barriers to community integration? And while barriers may seem overwhelming, they don't have to be, because there are 3 ways to overcome obstacles to community integration. Participate in real-life training sessions. One of the best ways to facilitate successful community integration, inclusion, and engagement is taking a life of real-life skills training. This can help individuals pinpoint and hone in on their strengths, identify their interests, and define their vision of success and how they want to live within the community. Develop self-determination. What is self-determination? In a nutshell, it refers to having control over the facets of one's life that are most important to them, who they want to spend their time with, how they want to make informed decisions. And even if they don't have self-determination, they've got an advocate working alongside them to help them practice self-determination, building up the skills to self-advocate, or having someone that can advocate for you. This is the best way to facilitate successful community integration. Everyone deserves the opportunity to live, learn, work, and contribute as they desire. Let's make community integration a goal in every workplace, every social aspect, every restaurant, every place there is an individual. They deserve to live the best life possible. My name is Dr. Demetra Smith. I am the leader of Capable Minds, Hearts, and Hands, the Potter's House IDD Outreach, and we thank you for joining us on this second leg of the journey to empowerment, community integration.